Thanks for watching Sunburnt Country Music. I hope you enjoy this interview, and it would be lovely if you could like the interview and also subscribe to this channel because that helps the channel grow. It helps the Australian country music artists whom I interview find new audience, and I think they deserve to do that, don't you? So please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Eloise Rayner started playing guitar at 15, and by 2023, she was attending the CMAA Academy of Country Music in Tamworth. Later that year, she released the debut single Fallen for a Cowboy, a duet with Zara Lindemann. And in June 2024, Eloise released her first solo single, Can You Still Feel Me Loving You? She now has a new single, There Goes My Heart, and she also has a great Spotify playlist of other people's music called Songs That Stole My Heart, which she told me about the last time we spoke and which I listened to. Hello, Eloise.
Hey Sophie, how are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you for that Spotify playlist mention because it's a great playlist.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, it's one that I'll play for all my friends if they're in my car. Yeah, and I'm like, listen to this song. You have to listen to the lyrics in it. Yeah.
And the first song on it is The Biggest Disappointment by Slim Dusty. So kind of sets the, I think, but your latest song single is not like this. There Goes My Heart is about falling in love at first sight, and you put it in an interesting way. Fell out of my chest, rolled down my sleeve, and right into your arms. And this suggests the fact that we're not always in control of what
Mm.
happens to our heart. So I'm wondering if you had an experience like this.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty universal experience, I'd say, where you sort of realize that um, your heart's fallen before your brain's catched up, and then your brain catches up, and you're like, oh, there's no going back now. So yeah,
But it's yeah, it was just a really nice way to put it because I think sometimes, particularly these days, there can be this sense that we're meant to manifest everything ourselves, and there's so much pressure to do everything, and it has this the song has this lovely way of sort of putting it that sometimes these things just happen.
yeah. Yeah, and I almost wanted to like personify the heart, I guess, because I feel like sometimes it has the mind a mind of its own. So, yeah, that was the sort of goal with this song.
Yeah. So when was it written and recorded?
So it was written, oh, I want to say it was written earlier in the year. It was definitely a this year song. And I do a big like Zoom co-write with a bunch of artists around Australia.
Mhm.
So we had some heaps of people on this one, but some pretty exciting ones to write with. Like Gina Jeffries wrote on this song, and so did Sarah Buckley, which is really exciting to have them on there because I really admire them as songwriters. And yeah, and then I recorded it about 2 months ago now,
Mhm.
down with Simon Johnson in just near Maitland there. Yeah,
Yeah. He's
Morissette.
very popular,
Yeah,
Simon Johnson. Yeah.
yeah. I've been recording with Simon since Fallen for a Cowboy, and then he just sort of got the vision perfectly with that song. So I've stuck with him, and I love working with him. It's great.
So this idea of a big Zoom co-write, does that mean you all go off into breakout rooms or something?
Yes,
Right.
yeah, and you sometimes they'll say, oh, put your hand up if you have an idea you want to write, or if we haven't written for someone that, term, we might write for them. Yeah, and so it's very purposeful in like who you're writing for, and you got to think about, there's people in there that aren't country writers that they write pop music.
Okay.
So you got to think about who you're writing for and like song structure and yeah, all those sorts of things. So
So I suppose it's
good
partly,
exercise.
yeah, I was about to say partly a productivity thing. It's like, oh well, this I have this appointment every week to write a song, but on the other hand, it's pushing you creatively. It's probably opening up some new synapses each time you do it.
Yeah, I think we all really like that it's scheduled because, unfortunately, sometimes life gets in the way of creativity and you don't write a song for months. Whereas I feel like this, we sort of have this commitment of going each Tuesday and doing it, which is great. And it keeps that sort of songwriting muscle going and building and working. And yeah, no, it's wonderful. I love doing it.
So does that mean after you have written some songs that you're going to file them away, and is it then that if there's one that's playing on your mind, you'll
Mhm.
think of recording it, or is it more that at the time you write it, you have an instinct that yeah, this is pretty good?
I think you sort of get into the song and quickly you know if it's one for you and if it's not. And if it's not, it's I feel like it's still really important to finish writing it.
Okay.
Um, just for that sort of exercise of getting it done. Because sometimes when you don't love it, it's actually really hard to finish it, I find.
Mm.
So putting yourself into that position of where it is hard to songwrite can be good, I feel like sometimes for later songs, yeah.
Has there ever been a song that you have had to push yourself to finish and you've finished it and thought, oh, that's actually a lot better than I thought it would be?
Not really, I don't think. I think I sort of realized pretty quick, and I think this songwriting group is really good with that. I think initially when I started it, I've been in it for a few years at least now. And initially when I started it, I'd bring these sort of like aloof ideas, or nothing sort of, this is what I want, exactly what I want, and it never turned out what I wanted it to be like. And we chat a lot in the room about, you got to bring the right song idea to the right people or into the right room, so there's song ideas that I'll go, oh, I want to write this with this specific person, or I want to write it with that person. And I think, yeah, it's been really good to be really intentional about your writing. And this class has taught me a lot about that, like being really intentional about co-writing and who you're writing with and what ideas you're bringing, but also just like your idea and how you want it to be said in the song exactly, and sticking to your guns. And it can be hard because people come up with ideas and you don't want to shut them down and feel like mean about, oh no, that was an idea they brought up, but I said I don't really like it. But we have sort of known each other for a while now that we can say, nah, I don't like that idea, and no one takes it personally, which I love, because you get what you want out of it in the end and everyone's happy. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Well, and also thinking about the people you were talking about. Oh, so part of what I really like about the Australian country music industry is that sort of that songwriting group that you're in is an example of the networking that can go on. And I actually wonder whether you'd have been inclined to take part in it if you hadn't gone to the academy. As like, did the academy set up these connections that you actually thought, okay, well, yes, this is this big expansive industry I can join.
Yeah, no, I was actually in songwriting before I went to the academy. So I was doing some mentoring with Gina Jeffries, and she sets up the whole songwriting group and co-write. And so she said, "Oh, I think you might really like to join this." And then yeah, I joined that, and I must have been in it for maybe probably only a year before I went to academy. Yeah.
So yeah, so your predisposition to being in the group led to academy, perhaps in some ways. So
Yeah,
I think it's
definitely.
all just I so love hearing these stories that of these songwriting sessions and other connections that are going on, invisible to the naked eye, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But then they result in songs like the one you have now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you recorded this song with Simon Johnson and Hillbilly Hut. Now, do you actually enjoy the recording process?
I do. I always get really nervous leading up to it because I'm like, got to protect my voice. Don't want to lose it before, it's time to record. But yes, I love the process. I love, because I'm living away from New South Wales at the moment. I do a lot of I'll send Simon just me and my guitar playing the song, and then he'll slowly build the track and send it to me as he goes, and we'll make edits. So by the time that I go down to record, it's just basically putting vocals on and maybe a few other little things. And it's a really fun process. Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you're living away from New South Wales. Where have you defected to, Eloise?
I'm in North Queensland at the moment. I'm working rurally because I'm also a speech pathologist. So I wanted to work in a little rural hospital. So I've been here for almost a year now doing that.
So is that a matter of applying for a placement or actually just applying for a job?
Yeah, I'm doing a maternity relief position. So it was just for the year, but now the idea of going to another rural site within the health district that I'm in has sort of been floated around. So I might be here longer, but I really enjoy it. It's really, I love it rurally because you get to do a little bit of everything. You're usually the only one in the hospital. So yeah.
Yeah, right. And you're a country music artist now living in a different part of the country,
Yes.
and rurally. So have you found any inspiration in your new home?
Absolutely. I think as well as inspiration, there's just a little bit more opportunity for country music as well, rurally. Um, People are a little bit more interested in it, and the setting obviously it fits really well within. But yeah, I guess the small town everyone sort of knows, oh, that's that speech pathologist slash country singer slash, So yeah, and I've had like little things come up where people have said, oh, I've got like a International Women's Day lunch. Can you sing at it or things like that? So, which didn't really happen in Sydney because those connections are a little bit, not so small and tight knit. But yeah, so there's actually been a few more opportunities out here, I found. Yeah.
Yeah, Sydney, as a lifelong Sydney sider, I can say Sydney is a big washing machine in a lot of
Yes.
ways. It can be for good and bad.
Yeah, I feel like this country music scene's picking up there more now, which is lovely to see, though.
Yeah. So have you encountered other musos in town?
Yes. So on Saturday, I opened Amber Lawrence's Townsville show with Josie. So
Right.
that was good to meet her. Um, and there's always, you go to races or rodeos, and there's always different bands and musos playing those. So yeah, there's people everywhere, really.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Amber does get around, so
Yes.
you'll probably see her again at some point. She seems to travel more than any other artist at the moment.
Yeah, I think she was all over Queensland. Now she's down in Proserpine. She's up, down, everywhere. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to
she's
see.
amazing. So your single before this one, which was called "Can You Still Feel Me Loving You," was a heartbreaker.
Mhm.
Did you consciously want to back it up with a song that expressed an opposite experience?
I didn't write the song with that in mind, but definitely when it came to I've got these songs ready to go, what do I release next? That was a consideration. Um, yeah, I wanted something a bit more fun. So people don't think that I just write sad, depressing heartbreak songs. Yeah, definitely that came into it.
Well, except as I mentioned, your playlist is called "Songs That Stole My Heart," not necessarily
Mhm,
songs that break my heart. But
mhm.
I think the theme here is that you like songs with big feelings.
Yes, I do. I love songs that sort of either put into words an emotion you felt before but haven't been able to put into words yourself, or songs that you hear and you realize you've felt that emotion, but you haven't realized you felt it before until you heard that song. And yeah, that's something that I try work on when I write, because that's what I love to listen to in songs. And it is like a Easter egg hunt for me to find those songs that do that. And it's just like a high almost when you find these songs. You're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I have to share it with all my friends who like that sort of style of writing. So that's my goal, is to make other people feel that when they hear my songs.
I think when you're writing about emotion, though, it can be physically taxing. And I say this as a novelist who writes emotions and sometimes has to have a Panadol and a lie down. But I think when you're channeling those feelings, it can be really intensive. And from the outside, writing, it's like it's almost not a passive experience, but it doesn't look like it will be that intense. But as a writer,
Mhm.
do you find that it actually can be this experience where you think, oh, okay, I need to lie down now?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's sometimes song ideas that I have, and that I've had a few times I've brought to people, and as I've been bringing the idea to them, it's made me feel all the emotions and get like overly emotional. And I go, "Ooh, probably not the best time to actually write that. I think I need to process that a bit more before I can sit down and write it." I feel like, yeah, the things that I'm writing about in the current moment are things that happened a while back and that I've had a lot of time to process and think about. And now I'm sort of in the right space to sit and write about them. I mean, occasionally you sit and you write those really raw in the moment things, but I feel personally it takes me a bit of time to wrap my head around it before I'm sitting down and writing about it.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
And sometimes in this culture, I think it's not acceptable to have big feelings. In Australia, there's this whole "she'll be right, mate" attitude. We
Mm.
tend to brush things off. So I'm wondering if you felt any friction with that as an artist. It's like, well, am I going to find people who appreciate what I'm doing?
I don't think so. No, I feel like because I have another job, the benefit of that is that I just do music the way I want to do it. And I'm not so concerned with, like, I mean, it's great to make things like charts and playlists and those sorts of things, but I'm just more focused on writing the songs I'd want to hear, and putting them out, basically, yeah.
Well, I think it's working so far. So when you started playing guitar and then started writing songs, did you take to that quickly, partly because it was a way of working through feelings and expressing them?
Yes, absolutely. I definitely, yeah, started teaching myself to play. Honestly, I probably taught myself to play 2 or 3 songs before I started to then write. I remember the first song I did teach myself to play was Not Pretty Enough, Casey Chambers. So there's a video somewhere on one of my dad's old phones of me on my hot pink guitar playing that song in my pink school uniform. So yeah, but yeah, I think it sort of came quite naturally as a way of almost like journaling, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess almost like it's a self-care action in some ways.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Are there any other creative practices you have that you'd put in the category of kind of necessary self-care?
I feel like I like doing crafty things, but I'll always do, I don't sort of stick to one sort of crafty things, For a while there, I loved doing like beaded jewelry and stuff like that, but um, yeah, no, I'll sort of now I'm just focused on songwriting and music.
I mean, there is enough there to keep you busy. As mentioned, you do have a full-time job, and
Yes,
like
yeah.
being a songwriter in addition to being an artist, I think is enough work. But I always like to ask about process, and I have already asked you a bit about songwriting process, but just back to it. Once you have some songs, say, out of your weekly writing sessions, is it then a question of letting them sit for a while, thinking of what you have, occasionally going back and visiting them and thinking, do I like it? Do I not like it? Before you settle on the ones you want to release.
Yeah, I feel like when you sort of don't want to leave too much space between when you're releasing songs. And I like to record, maybe 3 at a time about that sort of thing. So I have some under my belt, ready to go. So I think it's pretty clear which ones at the time when I'm thinking, okay, it's probably time to go back in, which ones sort of stand out to me as those 3, 4 that I want to go record. It's more about, I think that sort of thought process comes into it more when it comes to releasing and being a little bit strategic about things like, oh yeah, I've just had a sad song. Okay, probably should put out something a bit more fun, or this is a ballad that maybe it probably shouldn't be marketed to radio and I should probably just release it and just have it out there. Those sorts of things. Yeah.
And what you're just describing is a process that record companies used to do for most
Mm,
artists. As an independent artist, you're acting as your own record company, and a big part of, it's a lot to take on. There's a lot to think about, particularly when you have another job
mm,
and a full-time job at that. So I think it's also that consideration of what your brand is, and that's a term that can be hard to say because it sounds a bit on the nose. But I think given how many artists are out there, it's important for everyone to consider. Well, obviously,
yes.
what I've observed. So, in thinking about your artist identity
Mm.
and how you make it different to other artists, what do you hope people notice about you as an artist?
I'd say, I guess my lyrics is like where my heart is with songwriting, and that they capture emotions that are, maybe a bit harder to talk about, or emotions that, you haven't realized you felt until you've heard that song. But also, I think I attended a Casey Chambers songwriting day camp a few years back now. Even I think it was before Academy even. And her big thing was, your brand should just be you. Like whoever you are authentically should just be you, because then it's not going to need all this like work and effort into like branding and all that sort of a thing. So I'm very focused on what feels the most me when it comes to songwriting. Yeah.
But I think even sometimes, particularly for young women, actually, that can be such a loaded question. Who
Mm,
when there are so many signals from the overculture about who that is meant to be. And I grew up in an era, pre the internet being everywhere, and so
mm,
I didn't get those sorts of messages all the time. It was certainly there in traditional media, but you're of a generation where that has been the case. There have been all
yes.
the signifiers. So I'm actually interested in whether your creative process is a way of getting to the core of who you are.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd say that's, very true. And yeah, you have to really stick to it. Like it's hard, especially with all the social media out there, not to follow trends as well. Like, for a good chunk of time there, like really poppy country was trending. And that's like, oh, well, I should write a pop country song because that's what's trending at the moment. And I feel like now sort of those more traditional country is like Zach Top, that sort of sound is that trending thing at the moment in country music. But yeah, I feel like you sort of do have to stick to your guns because, it's much easier to be who you are than to put up a facade and try to stick to it. And I feel like when you do try to do that, and when you know do try to brand yourself, or it takes so much effort, and it's not sustainable. You can't do it long term. So I feel like you just really have to. It is hard though not to be influenced by trends and things like that. Yeah.
And I actually hadn't thought about that until you just said it then, about how even as an artist, you're looking at these trends thinking, because I always think of it as a listener, of course, looking at trends, but you're
Mm.
thinking, oh, okay, am I meant to be doing that now? But of course, the cycle of writing a song, recording it, releasing it is a lot longer than a trend may last.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And like it could be, as you said, well done. No one wants to hear pop country anymore by the time your pop country song comes out. And I feel like it comes down to brand as well. Like it'd be kind of odd to go from pop country because that's what's in at the moment, and then all of a sudden traditional country. I feel like you're going to build a listener base on people who like that certain style of music you're writing. So
Mm.
you've got to sort of stick to that a bit. Yeah.
Well, I think part of your style, which is appropriate given your job, is the articulation in your singing and the way you use your voice. I can hear in this track, there's a bit of a different way you're using it to the previous track, and I'm wondering if that's a discussion you and Simon have when you're recording. Is like, here is how I'm going to record this vocal. Here's what this song needs.
Yeah, we definitely talk about it when it comes to like spacing in your phrasing is like quite important and can have a whole different, like make a verse hit whole different level, or but I always get comments on my phrasing, and I think it's just something that comes naturally. And everyone comments that my phrasing's a bit quirky, but that it works. But it's just, I don't know, when I write, that's just the way that I hear it in my head and I sing it out loud. But yes, I also do get comments on that. People will say to me, oh, I could actually understand everything you were saying in that song. Whereas sometimes they're like, I have to listen to it again and be like, what were they saying?
Mm.
So that's nice to know. But I don't know. It's just something how I've always done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm smiling because I'm thinking maybe by quirky they do mean I could understand everything.
Yeah. Maybe.
But maybe it's so unusual. I do find that country music artists in Australia at least tend to enunciate very clearly, most of them.
Yes. Yeah. And quirky is a word that's often thrown around a lot with my music, and I'm just running with it that it's a good thing.
It's interesting. I mean, I think the heartfelt sincerity of it is what I notice, and
Mhm.
and again, it's that culturally in Australia that cannot necessarily be acceptable because we have this
Mm,
laissez-faire sort of attitude going on. So
mm,
maybe that's what they mean. But I always just think, I feel like when I'm listening to your songs, I know who you are because you're telling me and you're showing me.
yeah, yeah, yes. I feel like that is a big goal with my songwriting. Is I do use it like a journal a lot of the time to just um, write out those feelings. But I also sometimes don't write from my own experience, and I write from a concept, or I love reading poetry, and especially there's a lot of great Australian poets out there at the moment, and I feel like a lot of their work will inspire me to write a song, just like different ways of thinking about things. And um, I don't know, when I think about songs that I wish I'd written, I guess the first one that comes to mind is Tin Man, Miranda Lambert, and the way that she like flipped that. And I love those sort of concepts. So I'm always looking for things like that I could flip and write a song about.
So please give us your Australian poetry recommendations.
Oh, one of my favorites is Lang Leave. She writes like really short poems, and most of her poems are like uh, love-based poems, but she has a set, and there's like one on heartbreak, one on like falling in love, like different books on them. And they're just like really short little poems. I think she's based in Tasmania, but I love her poetry. Yeah.
So how do you find poetry actually? Because discoverability is a big issue as well. How do you find poetry? How do you find music? Is it, is poetry on Instagram? Is music you're finding it on Spotify or somewhere else?
Yeah, poetry, I often just find at the bookshop. I go to
Oh,
like
the
the
old-fashioned way.
yeah. I mean, Pinterest is also really good for that sort of thing, but I like especially looking for Australian poets. And then music, lots of different ways again. Social media ways other people find it, but Spotify is really good with their like day list recommendations. So sometimes I find it through there. Yeah, just always looking for new stuff to listen to and read poetry
Now I
wise.
know
Yeah.
you. Now I know you're on Pinterest, Eloise. I'll have to go and seek out your profile there too and
Oh,
see if
I
it's
think I have
yours.
everything locked
All
actually.
right. Look, fair enough. Pinterest is is often for personal use. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you mentioned that you usually will record a brace of songs at once, which makes sense when you're going to the
Mm.
studio. So that suggests you have some more lined up. Have you scheduled those releases, or are you still working that out?
Still working that out. I obviously this one is all scheduled, but yeah, I have another one I would like to release by the end of the year. But there's a lot of timing and factors like that that come into it that you don't realize. You think, oh, like, oh, I'll just pop out that song, but it has to be uploaded within a certain period of time before, and you have to have all your cover art and everything prepared and stuff like that. So, yeah, once this one's out, I'll tackle working out the next one.
Well, it has been lovely to talk to you about your latest single and your work in general. I look forward to the next song that's out. Eloise, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sophie.